Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Dranow here. Today, I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a long time: the modern music industry and why I hate what it's become. Compared to 50 or 60 years ago, now, don't get me wrong, I love music, I love creating it, I love living it, but what the industry has turned into, that's another story. So let's get into it. If you go back 50 or 60 years ago, music meant something. The 60s, the 70s, even the 80s, music wasn't content. It wasn't background noise. It wasn't something you skipped after 10 seconds. It was a movement. It was a rebellion. It was a truth. Artists weren't perfect, and that's what was the beauty of it. You could hear the humanity in the recording, Hendrix breathing into the mic, Aretha Franklin singing like her heart was on fire, Neil Young embracing the imperfections. It was raw, it was honest, it had soul. Today, everything is polished until it's sterile, compressed until the emotion is gone, quantized until a human feels like a robot. The industry used to celebrate authenticity, now it tries to erase it. Back then, labels scouted talent, real talent. They went to clubs, garages, bars, and they helped artists grow. Today, labels wait for someone to blow up on TikTok and then they swoop in. If you don't go viral, if you don't have a built in audience, you don't exist. The industry wants influencers who happen to sing, not musicians who dedicate their lives to their craft. And here's the worst part: they don't invest long term anymore. In the 60s and 70s, you could release 2 or 3 albums before you finding your sound, or before you were finding your sound. But today, if your first single doesn't take off, you're dropped. That This isn't a music industry, it's an algorithm industry. So albums don't matter anymore. This one hurts me deeply. Albums used to be journeys, stories, emotional arcs. Think about The Dark Side of the Moon, Rumors, Led Zeppelin 4, A Night at the Opera. Those weren't playlists, they were worlds. Today, the industry says don't bother with albums, just release singles, one every 2 weeks. Keep the algorithm fed. Music has become disposable, fast food content. Artists now write music designed to survive the skip button. Imagine telling Bob Dylan he has 10 seconds to impress someone. He'd laugh in your face. Now let's talk about streaming. Streaming brought convenience. Yeah, streaming brought convenience, but at a massive cost. Spotify pays fractions of a penny per stream. Not pennies, but fractions of a penny. You need around 250 to 300 streams to make a single dollar. Probably more. To make minimum wage, hundreds of thousands of streams every month to make a living. Millions, probably. Unless you're already huge, you're invisible. Unless you have tens of millions of streams, your payout is basically nothing. And here's the tragic reality: some of the best artists in the world today go completely unnoticed, not because they lack talent, not because their music isn't powerful, but because the algorithm ignored them, because playlists didn't pick them up, because they don't have a label's marketing budget. Streaming demonetized or democratized distribution, but it destroyed the value of music. Now, this one is ironic. We used to complain about gatekeepers, but they actually did something important. They curated, they filtered, they invested in artists. Today, anyone can release a song in 10 minutes. You'd think that's great, and in some ways it is. But Spotify gets 100,000 new tracks every single day. And in that giant avalanche, great music gets buried. When everyone can release music, It's not equal exposure. It's just more noise. We used to have fewer artists and more development. Now we have endless artists and almost no support. And here's what I miss the most: authenticity, real raw emotion, authenticity. 50 or 60 years ago, artists wrote from their soul. They wrote because they had something to say, something to fight for, something to change. Today, artists are told to write for vanity, branding, sync placements, algorithmic hooks, playlists, retention. It's strategy, not expression, but authenticity takes time. And the modern industry doesn't give artists any room to breathe. That's why authentic music feels rare today, not because it doesn't exist, but because the system doesn't reward it. So, where does this leave us? Honestly, we're in a strange moment in the music history. True, artists have to fight harder just to be heard. Soul has to compete with skipping thumbs. Musicians have to battle against algorithms. Streaming turned the most powerful art form into background noise. But here's the hope: there are still real artists out there. I like to think I'm one of them. People who create from the heart. I know me and my band definitely does. People who refuse to play the algorithmic game, people who still believe music is bigger than trends. And even though I hate what the industry has become, I still love what music is. Music is timeless. Soul is timeless. Emotion is timeless. And if enough artists and enough listeners demand authenticity, maybe the industry will find its heart again. Until then, I'll keep making my music my way. Please, if you've got something to say, leave a comment and reply. I reply to them all. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gary Dranow. See you in the next one.